Whether you're working or stay at home as a parent, the guilt is something we have all experienced. Board-certified psychiatrist Dr. Varma joins us right now to discuss the psychology behind it and some tips on how you can ease that guilt. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Great.
Okay, so parent guilt is something a lot of us can identify with. Where does it come from?
You know, it comes from this strong bond and attachment that we have with our children. It comes out of love. It comes out of a need to protect them. From a biological point of view, from an evolutionary point of view, it's protective, right? Where's our kid? Are we feeding them? Are they hungry? What do they need from us? But the downside is that sometimes it can be irrational. It can be feeling guilt over things that we have no control over, that we have no responsibility over. But it's a need for certainty and wanting to make sure that our kid is okay and that we can control the outcome. And sometimes we don't always have control.
The expectation on parents, particularly moms, has changed. So women work much more than they did in the 1960s, and yet they also, according to Pew, spend more time doing childcare. So you're doing both things. There's only so many hours in the day.
Absolutely, and it's often coming at the expense of our sanity, our mental health, our friendships, and our hobbies, which also have decreased since the 1960s.
You know, I can remember when favorite daughter Kirby took her first steps. I was working, I was anchoring the new news. And a coworker said to me, who shall remain nameless, Shaniqua, said, "You must feel really bad that you weren't there." Oh. And I said, "Why would I feel bad? It's noon. I'll get home at 6. So when I see it, it will be it will be me seeing her first steps." And I just refused to beat myself up about that. Her dad had recorded it, so I got to see it on video. But sometimes we are just made to feel guilty by other women, which I just think is an awful thing to do.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad, Gayle, that you didn't buy into that. You know,
and I said to her, "Look, she's not going to be running a marathon by the time I get home."
Right, exactly.
So we'll still be toddling around. I just thought that was such a crappy thing to do.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of women end up, what happens is, you didn't, but a lot of women end up internalizing shame.
Yes.
And shame is profoundly corrosive and dangerous to our mental health. It can lead to anxiety, to depression, and women have more shame proneness, more anxiety proneness than men do. So
is there a difference between shame and guilt?
Absolutely. So guilt moves towards reparation. It says, did I do something wrong? All right, well, I can fix it. And it's about behavioral change, because we can change behavior. But shame is about character assassination. It says, like, I'm a horrible person. You can't just change who you are overnight as a person. Guilt moves us towards pro-social behavior and gets us closer to people. But shame alienates us and isolates us.
Do men and women feel it differently?
Absolutely. You know, I think that often if men, and this is a stereotype, but if men feel guilt, it's about something circumscribed in the environment that actually happened, and it's concrete.
Like in the moment?
In the moment. Whereas, and they can point to a specific problem. I didn't show up to this, I feel guilty. Whereas for women, I feel like the guilt is often pervasive. It's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You went to the game, but you went 5 minutes late. Oh my God, you went to the game, but you didn't bring the cookies and the snacks for everybody else. They never give themselves a break. There's such an unrealistic, high standard. It's a moving target, chasing a moving target that you will never be able to live up to.
That description is spot on in my relationship, by the way. So how do we ease that guilt?
Self-compassion. And self-compassion is not just this fluffy thing that we talk about, but it is actually science-based. And there are 3 components to it. Being kind to yourself. And kindness looks like affirmations. I'm doing a good job. I may not be the best mom, but you know what? I'm good enough. And good enough, they say, you know, perfection is enemy of the good. Kindness also looks like taking breaks, taking care of your mental health, scheduling time for therapy, scheduling time for girlfriendships, for friendships, being a part, getting connected back to who you were. Mindful observation is the second part. Don't get over-identified with your feelings. Say, oh, there's the mom guilt again. You know what? But I'm a good person. I'll be there, like you said, those statements, like, I'll see it when I get home. And the third thing is common humanity, is this idea that we are part of something greater, we're something bigger than ourselves, and we're not alone in what we're feeling. So recognize that you're not alone. A lot of people feel like this. No one is perfect, and it takes a little bit of the edge off of yourself. And you can practice this every day.
Such good advice. I feel so many parents feel when they're at work, they feel like they should be at home. And when they're at home, they feel like they should be doing work. And you never feel like you're in the right place at the right time. And what you're saying is great advice for getting out of that cycle.
And Tony, one more thing, you know, they say, like, women are expected to parent like they don't work and work like they don't parent. And that's the hardest thing.
Exactly true. Meanwhile, dad's getting pats on the back for wiping one runny nose in the supermarket. Way to go. Way to go.
And babysitting. Babysitting, right?
Babysitting, which you said about yourself.
Your dad, don't ever use the word babysitting. That's for sure.
Do not, because that's BS. Do not. Babysitting, BS. Dr. Varma, thank you. Always good to have you here.